Good morning, guys. So I was asked from a friend recently, and this is a question that comes up really often. Like if you look in like internet forums and stuff like Reddit, and the question is, should I leave my jiu-jitsu gym? Right? Should you change gyms? Is it time to? It gets worded differently. And so I wanted to share just some bits of advice about it in case you are in that situation, just because I've been through it before, and I know it sucks. Right? It's leaving your gym is almost like, especially if you've been there for a while, it's like the divorce. You have all these memories and all these attachments to that place and to those people, and leaving is really, really difficult, even if it's the right thing to do. We've all probably been in bad relationships, right, where you just kind of stay with the person because it's easier. And it's like that with the gym. Sometimes you just stay there, even if it's a bad environment, even if it's not what you need, just because it's easier. And so I wanted to share with you guys two stories because they kind of contrast and they'll get you to think about, again, what the reasoning is and why you're leaving, that kind of thing. So the first story is about a friend of mine. He trained here at the gym with us back in 2007 or up to 2007. Good dude. I still like him. He's still a friend. I don't agree with his decision, but we're still friends. And he left the gym because he thought he was not getting what he needed. And he was rolling with some of the lower belts, right? He's a purple belt at the time. And so he was rolling with them, and they were getting the better of him. And he was like, he hated it. He was frustrated with it. And instead of which is kind of a good thing, right? That's the benefit of having consistent training partners where you can kind of adapt with each other and build off of each other. Instead of looking at it that way and looking for new weapons and new things to bring into his game to adapt, he just sort of pointed the finger at the instructor at the time that was here and left. Now, sometimes it is a situation where you aren't getting what you need, but in his situation, since then he's gym hopped several times. And when I speak to other friends at those gyms, they all kind of say the same thing, right? Like he was frustrated and he left. And so in that situation, his situation, he was getting what he needed, probably, but rather it was more of an issue of he wasn't taking upon himself to experiment, to expand his game, that sort of thing. He wasn't taking ownership of his game. The second story rather, is mine, right? When I first started training, I got started in a really toxic environment. And I came from wrestling, so I figured maybe that's just how it is, right? It's super intense in wrestling, so maybe this is just how it is. When you roll with guys, it's not friendly anymore. You're just trying to kill them. And like my instructor, we were not it wasn't a brotherly atmosphere like what you probably experience when you train. It was more of, we're like gladiators, and our instructor is the emperor. We're like trying to get his attention, trying to get his approval. Because if we were going, and especially if you were one of the higher guys in the gym at the time, like maybe a blue belt or something, and you got your guard passed or got submitted by someone else, he would just turn. He wouldn't talk to you for the rest of class. And you're like, oh man. So when you came into class, it wasn't like you were like looking forward to training. You were like getting yourself ready for a fight, essentially, every time. It was like a tournament every day. I'd white knuckle the steering wheel getting into class. Different things happened. He used people and abused the situation of authority with his students. But it came to a head for me because, at the whole time I was getting better. So I was like, well, I'm getting better in jiu-jitsu. That's what matters, right? It doesn't matter about if you are having a great time all the time or if people are, there's water falling on me. None of that stuff matters, right? Like, it was just, am I getting better? Well, it came to a head when one of my friends out here at black belt, I came out and trained with him like I had for a while, and I learned a move that he didn't agree with. And so he got frustrated by it, and he got really angry and told me I couldn't train. He said, you can't go out there and train with that guy anymore. And at that point I was kind of like, huh? I can't train with my friends anymore? Fuck that. So I'm done. So I left. And again, there was a lot of things building up to that, but that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, right? That was the last thing that I was like, I'm done. Okay, I'm done with this situation. It's toxic. It's not fun anymore. You're using people, and I can't train with my friends. No, dude, I'm done with this. And for all you instructors out there, and this is on a side note, I ramble a lot, guys. This is just what I do. If you're an instructor who tells people that they can't train with other people, that's bullshit, man. If you're giving your students 100%, effort, and you're trying to constantly, innovate and make those guys better, and you're putting in a full effort, if they're going to leave, they're going to leave, right? But telling your students that you can't train with someone else, that you're like being the jealous boyfriend or girlfriend that tells their significant other that they can't go out with their friends to the bar and have a drink because you're afraid they're going to cheat on you. If they're going to cheat on you, they're going to cheat on you, right? So just chill, right? Let you guys go train with them. Just make sure that you're giving 100% back to those people that come to you. And so my advice, right, after all that storytelling, all this stuff, right, my piece of advice to you is, one, look at yourself. Make sure that you're not like my friend who decided to leave and now he gym hops and he doesn't ever get the benefit of having that community, that sort of brotherhood that you can have, and because he's always pointing the finger at someone else. Make sure that if there is a problem, see if it's inside of you first, and then if it's not, then look outward, right? And question yourself, is there friction going on with your instructor? Are you creating that friction, or is it from him or her? And then talk to your instructor. If there is a problem, I know from my standpoint as an instructor, if there is an issue, I want to know about it. And so if you have an issue with your instructor, talk to him. If you don't feel like you can talk to your instructor, which was the case for me, because anytime I talked to my original instructor, if it was something he disagreed with or didn't like, he'd blow up in my face. So if you have that situation, then you know that you might want to consider leaving. But talk to them and try to figure out what the problem is and see if you guys can work it out together. And so that's it. Figure out what the problem is, see if it's on you. If it's not, talk to your instructor, figure out what's going on, see if you can fix it. And if you can't, well, again, then you have to make the decision whether you want to leave or if you want to stay. But just make sure that you do not take the decision lightly. And guys, that's all I got. So if you guys are in that situation, good luck to you. I know it sucks. It's frustrating. It's unfortunate, but it does happen sometimes. That's it, guys.